Today on the Topping Show, Kamala Harris commits to the US government paying reparations if she wins. Trump Gold Star family commercial goes viral after Biden Kamala ignored the family. New York Times says the US Constitution is dangerous. Elon ratio's Kamala's tweet there she says that Trump is going to be a dictator. Volkswagen may break their no layoff pledge. Hewlett Packard Enterprise continues to try to sue for their autonomy deal. A US coin from 1776 is found going to auction. And Toyota is recalling the Sequoia Hybrid. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part podcast, yeah, Volkswagen might break their long promise of having no layoffs, and they might even close some plants in Germany as the company continues to struggle. And the CEO, I still can't believe they did this publicly, recently said the company, well, they're no longer viable as a business. The brand Volkswagen is basically not selling. And granted, they do have a large portfolio of better brands, in my opinion, like Porsche. But I partially digress. This comes to us thanks to Yahoo Finance, the OG search engine from back in the day, which still gets about, well, I would say I'm about half their web traffic these days, but I'm only partially exaggerating a bit. They say, and it's also from the Associated Press, saying, quote, Volkswagen aims to cancel a non-layoffs pledge and won't rule off closing plants in Germany. And it doesn't help that China is eating their breakfast, so to say, with more and more EVs dominating the global market. There you can see one of their, actually, I don't want to say it's a little disappointing, but that's actually a picture of their headquarters over in Wolfsburg, Germany from 2021. And, I mean, I don't want to say a kid with Legos could have designed a better building, but, oh, no, I do. I would say that a kid with Legos could have designed a better building. Granted, this is just one part of the building, but it literally just looks like a giant rectangle, though it does have the VW logo at the very top, which, at least the logo signage does look to be quality made. At least it's more three-dimensional. So there's that. But going back to the actual substance of the company and the business, they say, quote, Germany's Volkswagen says auto industry headwinds mean it can't rule out plant closures in its home country, and it might drop a long-standing job protection pledge. It has been enforced since 1994 that would have barred layoffs since 2029. Which, again, I don't mean to derisively laugh at that idea. I think it's a good goal to have, but nearly every business throughout history has had to have layoffs at one time or another, and sometimes it is unfortunately necessary in order to make the businesses viable. And again, sometimes they do hire them back. So again, it's a good intention, but I can't believe, I wonder how binding this pledge is. Now, Volkswagen Group CEO Oliver Blume says, quote, the European automotive industry is a very demanding and in a serious situation. Unquote. He said new competitors entering the European markets, Germany's deteriorating position as in manufacturing location, and needs to, quote, act decisively rather. Now, some of the positions I would say are divisive in terms of the automotive community. They keep, what's a nice way of saying this, acquiescing to the demands of the big old government European Union, which is the reason why they're killing the Porsche Cayman, which is disgusting. They say it's because of cybersecurity reasons, because of the EU. It's also emissions, and yeah, Europe now it's going to be an EV, which again, in terms of a track car, utter trash with the current technology that we have. Because again, if you go to the track, you want to be able to actually drive and not wait hours to charge the damn thing. And also, you don't have to worry about liability of having lithium-ion battery cells on the track, which most tracks don't have insurance for, or fire suppression technologies for. But I partially digress. You also have Thomas Shavers, the CEO of Volkswagen Passenger Cars, saying, quote, they are reducing costs and they are looking for yielding results, but their headwinds have become significantly stronger. European automakers are facing increased competition from inexpensive Chinese electric cars, which is also a hilarious thing, almost like the UAW voting for Biden to make gas cars nearly illegal in the United States. The ultimate irony. Now you have that happening in Europe too. Again, China is going to eat everyone's lunch, very similar to smartphone dominance, and that's pretty much why pretty much every smartphone is made in China, or with the exception of Samsung, which is mostly in Korea. Now, they say that, quote, the company's half-year results indicate that they will not achieve their target of 10 billion euros in cost savings by 2026, which is their previous goal. The discussion around closures and layoffs for the company's core Volkswagen brand. The core brand saw operating earnings sag to 1.1 billion from 1.64 billion euros a year before earlier. So again, from European monopoly money, it's 966 euros from 1.64 billion euros. They didn't give the other correlation for the percentage of, or for the US dollars. They say, quote, the group also includes luxury brands Audi and Porsche, which have higher profit margins. How dare they ignore the iconic brand of Lamborghini, which is disappointing because they're making, hybrids and V8s as opposed to, V10s and V12s, and they're all automatic these days in terms of transmission choices. But yeah, of all the iconic things in the Volkswagen portfolio, how can you forget about Lamborghini? And they also have Ducati, and you have Bugatti as well. I mean, there's a lot of iconic things. Yahoo Finance, you're slipping. But they say, quote, the company sought to cut costs through early retirements and buyouts to avoid forced layoffs, but is now saying those measures might not be enough. Last summer with the General Motors account, let's see the parallels between them when they went bankrupt for the third time in 2009. Now, say the additional measures affecting plant or job guarantees would be negotiated with worker representatives. They said the plant closing would be the first since the U.S. plant in Westboro, Pennsylvania closed in 1988, according to DPA U.S. agencies. Union officials and worker representatives attacked the idea of closures and more layoffs. Say management's approach is, quote, not only short-sighted but dangerous and is a risk of destroying the heart of Volkswagen, which, yeah, it's a very, very, very high cost of labor. And again, these companies, I don't know, my 3 cents, used to be 2 cents, but 40-year hyperinflation, gotta be 3 cents. Every automotive company should be fighting these government regulations and putting them out of business. Because again, you cannot beat China when it comes to a price point. I mean, it's just damn near impossible. And again, if you want mass EV adoption that governments are wanting, well, that's one of the biggest barriers to entry is the price point of those. Well, also, long-term reliability is crap, but also the price point as well. They say, quote, top employee representative Daniel Gustavo said that, quote, management has failed. These consequences of attack on our employees, our locations, and our labor agreements. There will be no closing plans with us. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it also doesn't help. Again, it's not always, I'm not just trying to attack the employees, because again, there are some issues with Volkswagen. Again, the government's pushing down with all these mandates, rules, and stipulations when it comes to pollutants. Of course, China has a big do whatever they want with those nice coal plants being built as we can count. But yeah, Volkswagen's also had some issues throughout the years with Dieselgate. That was a couple years back, and management's made some shady decisions in the past that caused them to pay billions of dollars in fines. That's not helping with their brand integrity as well. And also, I'm not sure how. I'm still astonished. The company said we don't think our brand is no longer viable, which Volkswagen, well, it's a little bit better because they stopped making so many stick shifts. I believe the GTI is now just the automatic, the Golf, because again, government mandates. So yeah, anecdotally speaking, I'm trying to think, when was the last time do any of my friends actually drive an actual Volkswagen product? I have a couple friends who have been very fortunate to the point where they have Porsches in their garages. Hope to inspire one of these days. But in terms of Volkswagen vehicle, my dad had a Jetta 30 plus years ago. He loved that thing. He drove that till the wheels fall off. Well, actually, it was more like transmission broke through the floorboards, but close enough. In terms of someone I know now who owns a Volkswagen, Beetles were really hot back in the day. That reiteration was good marketing, especially around the 2000s era. So popular is even the video game of the N64, Beetle Adventure Racing, which I think it's one of the few games I still don't have yet. Might have to dust off that or find one of those on the electronicbay.com one of these days. But in all seriousness, do you know anyone right now who drives a Volkswagen vehicle? Not a Porsche, not a Lamborghini, an actual VW vehicle. I know one person in the past 2 years I've met. He was a great guy. I had my interview podcast, Topping Talks, and he was not more of an automotive enthusiast. Oh no, I know someone. Actually, interestingly enough, maybe it's who I'm interviewing on the interview show, Topping Talks. Past couple people I've interviewed have had VWs. They're the older ones to go, relatively old. They had nice stick shifts. One had the Jetta, and then one had the GTI. Oh no, he had the PDK. Still can't believe Jordan did that. But in all seriousness, do you know anyone who drives a Volkswagen Beetle? Do you think they'll be able to make it out? Again, they're one of the largest, most iconic brands out there, and they have a very, very diverse portfolio of individual car companies that they own. But do you think they'll be able to make it out through this forced government transition to EVs? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Hewlett Packard Enterprise continuing to sue to get some money back from the Bosch autonomy acquisition, which perhaps is one of the biggest business blunders of all time in terms of paying billions upon billions of dollars for effectively nothing. Granted, it wasn't entirely HPE's fault. Granted, many things they mess up with are. But in this case, it turns out Autonomy, which is a very popular, was at the time, software company, Well, they fudged the numbers, so HPE basically bought something with a incorrect bill of sale, and they've been suing ever since. Now, this comes to us thanks to CBS News. It's a quote: Hewlett Packard to pursue suit against tech mogul Mike Lynch, who died in his yacht when his yacht sank. Is there any good? Oh wow. They even put the HPE logo there, which is just a rudimentary green rectangle. My theory is it was old. Back when I worked there, Meg Whitman was the CEO. When she ran for a government position in California, all her campaign signs, the color around the perimeter of every one of her rectangle campaign signs was a green border. So the theory that guys in the office and I had that she just did that to immortalize her, but I partially jest. There you can see that guy. Let's see here. Now, basic quote, HPE, which again, if you're not into tech, Hewlett Packard is a separate company. They split off in 2016, but Hewlett Packard is the one that most consumers know because Hewlett Packard makes computers, desktops, laptops. They also make printers that sometimes work, allegedly. And Hewlett Packard Enterprise is a separate business that is known for enterprise, as the title would say, enterprise technologies like servers, storage, and networking. When I talk about storage, I talk about like NAS storage devices, and networking, you got like Wi-Fi and switches or wireless access points. So the two separately traded companies, publicly traded. And HPE is the one that's actually suing this, will now be his family's estate. Now, they say, quote, Hewlett Packard Enterprise will pursue a lawsuit against the estate of British tech entrepreneur Mike Lynch, who died in August after his yacht sank off the coast of Sicily. Britain's High Court in 2022 ruled mostly in favor of U.S. technology company, which accused Lynch and his former finance director of fraud over $11 billion takeover of a software company, Autonomy. Again, it's kind of funny they shorthand it. CBS News, fact strike on you. Now they're saying Hewlett Packard, separate company. But I know I should just shorten it to HPE to be more accurate, but I partially digress. Say Hewlett Packard is seeking up to $4 billion in damages. The judge is expected to issue a decision on the lump sum soon enough. Lynch died in the yacht. The Bison sank in the storm of Sicily on August 19th. His widow, Angela Baccaris, can now be liable for damages. Months after the sinking, Lynch was acquitted in a separate U.S. criminal trial of fraud and conspiracy charges with the deal. Hewlett Packard initially separated the costly acquisition of the Lynch company in 2011, but came to regret it. Yeah, that's to say the least. They say, quote, the company said in a statement that it has substantially succeeded in its civil fraud against Lynch and Sushovian Hassan, the former finance director. Quote, it is HPE's intention to follow up proceeding through their conclusion, unquote. However, the judge in the UK civil case had already ruled that the amount payable in damages would be substantially less than the company was seeking. And of course, spokespeople declined to comment. So it'll be interesting to see how much money they get at the end of the day. But yeah, that was one of the worst tech acquisitions in history, which is saying something because there's been a lot of botched acquisitions throughout the years. But yeah, HPE wanted to get into software. They went out and bought that company. Then, of course, years later, they just spun off software and whole separate company, as well as spinning off HP, printers and laptops, a whole separate other company, and the management services and a whole separate other company. There's a little bit left. Anyway, partially exaggerating. But let me know, do you think at the end of the day they'll actually get any money out of it? Or do you think it'll just kind of be a wash in terms of what money's left from the family's estate? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other fun business news, you have a US coin from 1776 found at the bottom of a toffee tin heading up for auction, and yet another reason to check all nooks and crannies for collectible coins, because they can be worth a pretty penny. I should probably clarify, a vintage pretty penny, which is actually prior to 1986 is 99.99% copper. Now they're 99.9% zinc and copper plated, which means they're effectively useless, which is perhaps a good metaphor for the US currency and monetary system in general. But I partially kid. Now this comes with thanks to Fox News, which I think I account for 1% of their total network bandwidth at this point. I usually check it a couple times a week. And they say, quote, rare coin from 1776 found in the bottom of a toffee tin to sell at auction. The Continental Dollar is minted in the year of the Declaration of Independence. And this is by Brittany Costco over at Fox News. And here you can see the really neat coin. Let's see here. There you see Joseph Trander, an auctioneer and managing director of Watton Auction Rooms. And that's the company. If you want to try to place a bid on that, it's going to be auctioning they off. They say, quote, Watton Auction Rooms, an auction house based in, good luck pronouncing this, although I will try and probably make some people laugh, Gloucestershire, England, right next to the Worcestershire factory, probably. They say it recently came across an old coin while evaluating items bought from a private vendor. Auctioneer Joseph Trindle said the coin is a Continental Dollar measuring 38 millimeters across and made of pewter minted in 1776. He says, quote, "The coin represents a discovery that is the top 5 in my career to date, and the sort of thing that every auctioneer up and down the country hopes to find. The coin was a limited production run of only 6,000 units made, and as many as only 100 survived to this date." Now there you can see a really big close-up of it. You can see there. And it says, quote, "With rarity top of mind, the coin has been taken back to the United States for authentication by the Numantic Guarantee Company based in Sarasota, Florida, and confirmed it was real." He said, quote, "It was examined by a committee of specialists and x-rayed and put through other scientific tests, and we're delighted to receive notification a few days later to tell us it was in fact real." The extra close-up picture of that. Yeah, they think that this is a coin that dates back to the U.S. Declaration of Independence, and they have found it in the UK is unique. Bender said the auction house hasn't confirmed any record of another example of this coin found in the UK. The coin was one item found in a bin of knickknacks such as jewelry, carved stone, and fossils. He says, quote, "We had a jolly good look to make sure we got to the bottom of everything inside." Which, yeah, that's going to be, can't believe think that's going to be worth more than its weight in gold. Though that's not saying much because it's pewter, but, I mean, in all reality, that's a beautiful piece of history. And a quick PSA, if you ever find a collectible coin, for the love of God, do not clean it. Because, like most antiques, as soon as it's called washing a coin, as soon as you do that, you destroy nearly half of the value. So even if you think you got good intentions, leave it as is, because that's what collectors want, and that's what historians really appreciate. Once you scrub a coin, or once you wash the coin, once you actually try to clean it and make it shiny, ironically, you think it looks good, it looks awful, and collectors hate it. It destroys the value. It is fancy. It's fancy. It's fascinating, the kind of whole grading of coins, especially paper money. Just one little ding on the coin, or one little rip on it, or just one fold on a paper bill can cause the grade of it to drop dramatically and worth sometimes thousands, but sometimes $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 less. It is incredible. And yeah, I can't imagine how much it's going to go for, but yeah, that auction house is going to have a pretty good commission on that. And yeah, definitely when you're going through belongings, you're getting rid of stuff or donating stuff, or just always check the bottom and make sure you're not throwing away a piece of history or missing out on some possible hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. But let me know, what was last? That'd be a fun question. When was the last time you found a really cool penny or coin? It's one of those things where you can still find a wheat penny every once in a while if you get a couple boxes of pennies from your local bank, though not a guarantee. But that's usually the most common coin that people come across just kind of out in the wild in the United States. I've never seen an Indian coin in circulation, but I've gotten them at antique stores and from families throughout the years. That was actually called the Indian head penny. But I can talk about that topic all ad nauseum. But let me know in the comments. When's the last time you found a cool coin, and you could pick any coin you want for free? What would you want? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Culture Pride podcast, you have the New York Times saying that the Constitution is dangerous, which, yeah, quite concerning, but although these days not too surprising, since that's pretty much all the mainstream media ever says these days. Now, this is really going viral on the good old X Twitter by a couple folks. One of the first people I saw was from Zero Hanj, and they say, quote, "This appears to be a pattern. It looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different publications, or, publications from the New York Times. These are the screenshots of the actual top title. Doesn't zoom in too well on this screen. Apologize about that. But one of the headlines says, quote, "The Constitution is sacred. Is it also dangerous? One of the biggest threats to Americans' politics might be the country's founding document." George Orwell, what we're alive, you'd be pretty disappointed about how far the world has crumbled into dystopian nightmare. Other headlines say, quote, "Is the Constitution obstructing American democracy?" Another New York Times headline says, quote, "Let's give up the Constitution" by Louis Michael Seidman. Another headline says, "U.S. lacks what every democracy needs." Another one says, "This is the story of how Lincoln broke the U.S. Constitution." Another one says, "The Constitution won't save us from Trump." Another one says, we had to force the Constitution to American democracy, and it shows." I don't know how mentally vacuous this person is, but this one comes from David French at the New York Times. So, again, these are opinion pieces. And he says, quote, "MAGA turns against the Constitution," unquote. Which is hilariously ironic when you look at the rhetoric and also the beliefs of the different political affiliations. Well, one actually got caught conspiring with big tech to censor hundreds of millions of Americans. That same time wants to confiscate guns. Kamala literally said when campaigning, if the government doesn't pass a law in the first 100 days, you just take guns away with executive order. usually the cliche de facto ban, which is a forced buyback, which again, that is a ban, and also taking your property without due process, pretty mentally vacuous and disgusting to say the least. And yeah, the other side that mainly just wants to be left the hell alone. I can't help but think, when's the last time? And again, there are people on both sides who do aspire, think crazy things. But in terms of the mass, I don't think the common opinion on the right is destroying the Constitution. I think most of them, many of them, actually hold that sacred document to heart. So I'm not sure what Mr. David French is really thinking about there. And I mean, pretty interesting that all this is bubbling to the surface. It is election year, emotions are high, and I mean, it's kind of cliche to say. It seems to be something we say every time there's an election, but I mean, this election matters now more than ever. And well, that's what moderately viral got about 300,000 views. And yet another friendly reminder to click that subscribe button. When I first started the show, my speaking was terrible. I spoke very fast, mostly monotone, really didn't articulate much, and I stumbled over most of my words like Joe Biden trying to walk upstairs. However, as I slowly but surely gained more subscribers, my speaking has improved. My theory is the more subscribers I gain, the better I'll be able to speak, to get to the point where someday we'll go through an entire episode without a single speaking mishap. I know it's a tall order, and some might argue it just had a modicum of improvement. However, I think it's a improvement nevertheless. So if you can click that button and feel that theory, I would greatly appreciate it. And again, we might someday go through a whole episode with perfect speaking articulation. Someday, a man can dream. Now, I go down to the comments. Yes, I got 6,000 likes. One of the first comments comes from Cass Loren, says, quote, "Who gives all the fake news networks their headlines all at the same time?" Getting 17 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, "They hate the Constitution because they hate America." Getting 6 likes. Jared Marsh says this: "If you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes, instead of truth, it says journalism." Getting 116 likes. True. Going down more and more. Kamala Jones, not a fan of Kamala. That's her actual profile name, which is kind of funny. She says, quote, "If it wasn't for the Constitution, we'd be speaking Chinese, living in like Venezuelans, trying to outrun nukes." And says, "Who is a major shareholder of the New York Times is BlackRock at 8.464%, having, it looks like 13,841,917 shares of the stock." I got 15 likes. Tim My Fap says, "All stream media is propaganda," getting 54 likes. Brian O'Brien says, "The Constitution is an obstacle to implementing the globalist agenda," getting 45, so I get 46 likes. Nicholas Mugail says, "The overthrow of the American Constitution," getting 16 likes. Spitfire says, I want to see the actual memo that went out," getting 67 likes, and reminiscent of Operation Mockingbird. Going down more and more. Wizard of Oz says they want to end the great country of the United States, getting 15 likes. Let's see. Any contrarian statements? Because again, there are people, I wouldn't consider them Americans, but there are people who live in America who do not believe in the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. They don't believe everyone should have equal opportunity, God-given rights, like the freedom of speech or the Second Amendment, and peacefully assemble. It's quite concerning. Let's see. Do one more. Ian Murakat says, "The threat of tyranny is very real, and Kamala is a tool that the blob is using. The CIA and the other intelligence agencies are twisting the election to their advantage," getting 3 likes. Which, I mean, just lawfare alone against Trump, I mean, we've never seen a single presidential candidate have so many lawsuits against him. And again, something that woke up a lot of my friends was a lot of lawsuits against Trump were a lot of the actions he did were exactly the same as the competition. I mean, such as Biden as well as Obama, and yet only Trump's being prosecuted. So it's quite concerning. And culturally speaking, I still think, I like to think over 50% of people in the U.S. believe in freedom of speech and Bill of Rights, Constitution. I'm getting skeptical these days. Granted, I mean, there's always a bias in terms of social media. Usually, people speaking on it are one of the ones that are more outspoken on average. I do think that most people are still in favor of the Bill of Rights, Constitution, but let me know. Do you think, am I just being foolishly optimistic? Do you think most people on average these days in the United States, what do you think that, that needle is in terms of, do you think, 70% people believe in the Bill of Rights, 80, 90%, or do you think it's, closer to 10, 20, 30%? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have Elon Musk ratioing Kamala when she said Trump is going to be a dictator, with Elon getting infinite more likes with a smaller fraction of the views. Now, I'm sure he used good old Grok, their good old AI computerized bot, and the X Twitter, which, to he had a lot of fun with that in terms of, having it generate images. And Elon actually responded to Kamala, of course, is on the X Twitter. Now, Kamala said, quote, "We won't let him." And it's a picture of, well, Trump without, I guess it's just bottom of the eyelids down. So he does, I mean, he is wearing a suit with the American flag lapel pin, which is a pretty rare thing in politics these days. I'm sure she thinks it's a bad thing. And the text on the screen from Kamala says, quote, "Donald Trump vows to be a dictator day one." And that did get 31 million views. However, only 53,000 likes. Elon actually responded in text saying, quote, "You're lying." And that got 49,000 likes. Now, going to Elon actual main responding or retweeting, he says, quote, "Kamala vows to be a communist dictator on day one. Can you believe she wears this outfit?" And it's her dressed up in looks like a little Soviet Union outfit, dressed in all red, which, fact check, she doesn't have enough flags behind her that are not the American flag for that to be a real picture. So again, in terms of this video being taken down, which, fascinatingly enough, when I'm talking about politics, only 1 or 2 videos have been taken down, and they're all critiquing Kamala. Interestingly enough, they're still up on the good old freedom platform known as Rumble. Or not hashtag, how do they find the show? Just search bar The Topping Show on Rumble, or just go to the X Twitter at The Topping Show, where I usually try to post the most popular, video of the week on that platform. But I partially digress of that plug. And yeah, and she's all, oh wait, does she have her $70,000 necklace in that? She has a different necklace. It actually looks almost like medieval armor under her jacket. Might be a new fashion statement. I'm not sure. I'm not in the fashion realm. And this one pretty well got 23, so it got less views than Kamala. His post got 24.3 million views, but he got 156,000 likes, which, as you might say, he ratioed her to say the least. And one of the top comments comes from Greg saying, quote, "Oh wow, I can't believe this picture of her was taken. Was it Halloween costumes or her actual outfit?" Gained 3.4 thousand likes. You guys have Wall Street Apes saying, quote, "Kamala Harris is owned by BlackRock. She's an empty shell for the globalist takeover of America. Vote Donald Trump to restore America to what it is meant to be. Make America great again." As the Kennedy brothers says how it started. Or sorry, they started it. As RFK Jr. and Trump saying they'll finish it, getting 1.3 thousand likes. We have Paul Zupa, finally, our favorite leftist. Well, not really favorite, but he is one of the people who does post on, or does reply to these that I follow, so his response goes to the top, because echo chambers get a little boring. Granted, he's mostly mentally vacuous and doesn't actually, talk about the substance of the post. I think he just copy-pastes a Grok AI computation or a feed out, just saying, "Elon, bad man." But I'll read what Luke has to say. Again, in terms of Luke, he's a leftist who's, something he's very, very proud of. He pins to his profile is the fact that he wrote an article in GQ about how boys should not be allowed to play football. He also wears his picture on the good old X Twitter is an animated picture of himself wearing a V-neck. So yeah. Now Luke says, quote, "You're living in the through the longest mind control political propaganda campaign and mind and media power grab in history. X is a giant experiment in taking control of the presidency through the targeted dissemination of misinformation guided to contort reality and help elect Trump. Mostly vacuous and not addressing the actual core thing of what Elon is saying, but that is part of the course for Luke. And it did get 3.3 thousand likes and also 150 responses. Was he ratioed, perhaps? Not by number of likes. Let's see here. Montana Septic says the Democrats are controlling the media for decades, brainwashing people. This is the awakening, gained 32 likes. You have one man named Ronald Jim saying great summation, 0 likes. Carol says it's very simple, get off X, getting 0 likes. Let's see here. Pretty much people just trolling him, saying how bad Kamala is. But Luke did get that many likes, 3.3 thousand. Guthrie Eagleman says, quote, "Difference is that he was already elected president for 4 years and didn't become a dictator. Kamala's track record shows that she has a proclivity for corruption. Corruption leads to tyranny. We will lose America and the rest of the free world if Kamala wins." Unquote, getting 3.6 thousand likes. World of Statistics says, quote, "U.S. presidential poll." This is from ABC News. Unfortunately, it doesn't give us statistic sample size or the geographic or the demographics, but according to that poll, it says Harris at 50%, Trump at 46%, getting 1.8 thousand likes. A contrarian statement, you have Anonymous saying, quote, "Apartheid declined and his glory spreading information. So here we are, thank Grok. Can you believe Elon was wearing an outfit?" And it's an AI-generated image of Elon, but he has the Nazi flag behind him, as well as what do you call the little flag band, armband that they put around? I thought it was a special name for those little things. That did get 5.9 thousand likes. Colin Rugg says haters going to say that Grok made that photo, getting 672 likes. The persistence says, quote, I need everyone to please register to vote at your current address. If you're already registered, please check your register status. Our future is hanging in the balance. Please vote Trump this November, getting 856 likes. Paris84 says she's a woman with many hats. And this picture of Kamala photoshopped where she's wearing the McDonald's hat says stolen valor, and got 303 likes, which apparently she lied about that as well. Really weird thing to lie about in terms of, political careers and, saying how you worked your way up and claiming that she had a real job at one point. It's a rare thing for most politicians. Most of them are utterly useless most of their lives. But yeah, she claims she worked at McDonald's. Turns out that was a lie, very similar to Tim Walz's stolen valor, as well as a litany of other things that they made up, which is really unusual and weird. But they thought it was going to get them, more points. You have Clown World say, hey, just going to say it's faking, 821 likes. Ed Krasenstein says, quote, are you testing community notes? Getting 479 likes. See here. Most people agreeing with him. We'll see. Well, see if there is a community note eventually. Planet of Memes, finally they responded in meme form. It's usually hit or miss, 50-50 shot with them. But nevertheless, Planet of Memes says, quote, Comrade Kamala must be defeated. And it's an AI picture of Kamala. And it's kind of funny. I appreciate the word pun. Instead of communism, it says communism. And this picture, very much London inspired, getting 96 likes. Cat Turd has a picture of Kamala with Joseph Stalin shaking his hand, AI again, getting 696 likes. Wow, Cat Turd got a lot of likes. There's Kamala with horns on her head, holding a staff receptor. She's standing in front of the Soviet Union flag, and it got 995 likes. Let's see here. 3-year Letterman says, quote, this is a fake photo and you should be arrested for forgery, getting 3.6 thousand likes. Let's see here. Urbanist Ramen says it's because of posts like this that X is being banned and restricted to other countries, getting 6.6 thousand likes. Let's see here. You got a picture from Trump Army saying choice is clear. Picture of Trump says prosperity. Picture of Kamala says despair, getting 626 likes. It's actually about 50-50 split with this one. Some more AI generated pictures of Elon and separate pictures, but Elon and Trump in the Soviet Union. Yeah, this might be maybe one of Elon's not fails, but in terms of his response is about 50-50 feedback in terms of supporting and not supporting him. Again, he is one of the most popular men in culture. I'm almost surprised. Maybe I'm a little disappointed in terms of the methodology or when you sign up for X Twitter. In terms of you have people that you're already following. I mean, just for nostalgia. I mean, this is winding back the clock of many years, culturally speaking. There is a time, the OG social media network, again, you got to click that subscribe button. It'll help with my speaking ineptitudes. I swear, probably, maybe, perhaps, not guaranteed. But, going back to what I was trying to say, it's one of the original OG, social media networks was MySpace. And every time you sign up for a MySpace account, you were automatically friends with Tom, the founder. And I'm surprised, just for April Fools, Elon should take a picture of himself sitting in the school chair like Tom, the founder, in the same facial expression. And when you sign up for X Twitter, you're already following Elon. I don't know. A little nostalgia, a little trolling. I think that'd be really funny. But let me know in the comments. Then again, do you think his opinions will sway the election one way or the other? A lot of celebrities, endorse candidates throughout time. I debate how really effective they are. I know some people are heavily influenced by celebrities, others not so much. But let me know in the comments. Do you think he'll continue to be, important culturally speaking, especially with this upcoming election? Because as always, let me know, because I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Kamala commits to the US government paying reparations if she wins. Which, one would question, well, wait a minute, if you believe that now, why didn't you do that past 3.5 years? I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's moral, but, why don't you, what have you been doing the past 3.5 years again? I forget. And this is a cliche, very divisive topic that Democrats bring up every 4 years. And don't get me wrong, it will get some votes. But again, you have to think about it. People who have never owned slaves paying taxes to people who have never been slaves. And, shoot, you want to drill down to the anecdotal evidence or my anecdotal thoughts on this. My mom's whole family came from Cuba legally. And contrary to, we actually came here on a plane. It was one of the last planes to get out when Fidel took over and destroyed the country with communism. But yeah, they came here and they never owned anyone. Why should their taxes pay for that? Same with myself. It's presumed that you're a United States citizen, you're tuning in the show. You've never owned slaves. Some global viewers might, but yeah, just morally, why should your tax dollars pay for that? So again, this topic is very divisive. It has been for decades. and it's gotten people votes on the left and the right to say they oppose and they support it. Now, Kamala, this is good old on the X Twitter, although this was originally posted by Nick Sorter over there. He says, quote, while Kamala Harris promised race baiter Al Sharpton that she would use tax dollars for reparations if she becomes president, this is insane. Enough the BS. I granted, isn't it a long format speech with all eloquence and brilliance explaining why? Maybe she does. Maybe it's a 5-hour speech and she explains it in great detail why she thinks it's a good idea. Obviously it's not, but this is a little excerpt of that little speech interaction. And let me make it larger on the screen here. And it's like she's speaking from a podium that's labeled the National Action Network. And I usually don't give him a modicum of credit, though I guess I will. Jesse Jackson did at least suit up for this occasion. He did one thing right. He did wear a suit, as all men should. What he's saying is dribble, but he at least did suit up. Now, without too much further ado, and again, this is Jesse Jackson speaking, and then Kamala's going to respond back.
But in the area of reparations for descendants of Africans enslaved, if you elected president, would you sign that bill if it came across your desk?
When I am elected president, I will sign that bill.
That laugh. It is iconic. Not in a good way, but it is iconic. And this will, I understand why she's doing it in terms of moves on the political chessboard. They do it every 4 years. And there will be some people who vote for it just for the free money. That shouldn't be too surprising, but I think a lot of libertarians, a lot of people in the middle, and people on the right, this is a historically political issue. This, as youth might say, this isn't going to fly. I don't think it's going to get her more. I think it's going to alienate more votes than get her votes in the coming election. Now, pre-poll got about 5.3 million views, as well as 60,000 likes. And one of the first comments coming from Planet of Memes. I'm a little disappointed they did not use a meme; they just used text. They're doing so good today on the show. They had a couple memes earlier, but nevertheless, the Planet of Memes says, "quote So Kamala Harris wants to take money from people who were never slave owners and give it to people who were never slaves." Got it. Yep, that got 4,000 likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, stealing more taxpayer money, getting 3.8 thousand likes. Nick Sorter says, more like buying, how's this not illegal, getting 3.1 thousand likes. Good question. I suppose this will eventually make it, would it get made to the Supreme Court? Be interesting. I know they said no to the quote unquote student loan forgiveness, which is a very little fancy way of saying taxpayers paying for stupid degrees that did not yield a good return on investment, which stinks. I think it was one of the greatest lies of our generation was the teachers unions from middle schools, high schools, brainwashing kids to think they could only be successful with a college degree, which, yeah, hilariously or interestingly enough, I've interviewed about 42 people now on my interview show, the Topping Show podcast, and yeah, I've met pretty much most of the millionaires I've met have at most a high school degree, with some of them actually dropping out, and most of the people I know with college degrees still have college debt, showing that the ROI is clearly poor. But I partially digress. You have George saying that laugh is very telling. She's laughing because they believe she'll do something like that. She prefers to give illegals free houses. Getting 1.1 thousand likes and bringing up another controversial thought of hers. Or perhaps more accurately, her handlers that are telling her. Well, Turtle says no person alive deserves reparations, getting 3.1 thousand likes. Nick Sorter says nope, they had just an equal opportunity as the rest of us. Get to work, getting 1.4 thousand likes. That is one of my favorite political, I don't know if it's a political flag or a cultural flag, but someone had a flag that was going viral on social media a couple weeks ago where it just says, no one cares, work harder, which kind of like that. AKA says, that's ridiculous, my God, getting 123 likes. Chuck Costello says, quote, will the media cover this? It's got 621 likes. Nick responded saying, nope, they had memory hold it, getting 491 likes, which, why wouldn't they? I mean, this will get votes from leftists. And this will get some people, it's free money. People will vote. People vote for that all the time. I wonder, because on average, I think maybe the DNC think is more politically divisive enough where they won't run ads with this. But I think they would. Let me know if you think differently. Scrolling down more and more. Let's see any contrarian statements here. Not thus far. Bullen says her ancestors owned slaves. She should set up and pay those descendants out of her personal bank account. 361 likes, which was perhaps one of the most hilariously interesting things in terms of the only U.S. president to never be related to those who had owned slaves, historically speaking, was Donald Trump. And yet they call him, the most racist, evil one ever. Ziki Soja says, quote, Kamala will do anything to earn votes. That's who she is, getting 111 likes. Let's see. Deplorable Rick says, hasn't our government stolen enough tax dollars from hardworking Americans, getting 88 likes? True. So for them, it's never enough. If Americans were really, really good at math, they'd be pretty depressed or pissed off and revolt tomorrow. Because just for a second, just think, the feds steal 40% of your paycheck. If you live in a state like California, they take 13% of your income. Then you got sales tax, another 10% maybe. You got property tax, alcohol tax, tobacco tax, gasoline tax, toll tax, telecommunications tax, wealth tax, capital gains tax, Social Security, that Ponzi scheme. Out of every dollar we earn, how much is really our own? It's pretty depressing to think how little that is. Yeah. But, again, this will probably get her some more votes. Do you think, because again, this has been a very divisive political strategy for decades. At the end of the day, do you think it's actually net Kamala Harris more new voters, or do you think it'll just alienate more? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Trump Gold Star family message going viral after Kamala and Biden snubbed the family. This going on good old Donald Trump's ex-Twitter account as he becomes more and more viral by the very day on that platform as he returns. Though, can't help but think, thank God I didn't invest in the DJT stock or the True Social stock. Granted, I mostly reinvest myself in my businesses. That's kind of gambling I like. But yeah, the biggest value of that social media company was that was where Trump posted stuff first. And now, not so much. Now, this comes from #RealDonaldTrump. And it's a little bit of a long commercial, but I think it's a pretty articulate good one. It's about 2 minutes and 14 seconds long. Granted, it's infinitely more articulate than I could attempt to say. Okay, rewind it to the very beginning here. See here. Oh, it'll load. Let's see. Come on, next Twitter. The suspense is killing me. I had to reload the whole page. There we go. It's funny. I work in IT, and I used to actually work specifically for a networking company that sold wireless access points and switches before I started my own company. The old cliche of IT is when stuff doesn't work, you blame the network. But more often than not, you just run a quick diagnostics and show, oh no, the bandwidth is quite adequate, and there's no outage in the network. That's not the issue, but thanks for blaming us first. That was always one of the funny puns in IT, but I partially digress.
Vice President Harris.
Vice President Harris.
Vice President Harris.
And on the screen it says a message from Golden Star families.
My name is Steve Nakui. I'm the father of Lance Corporal Kareem M. Nakui.
My name is Jim McCollum. I am the Gold Star father of United States Marine Corps Lance Corporal Riley McCollum.
This is Mark Schmitz, Gold Star father of Marine Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz.
My name is Darren Hoover, and I'm the Gold Star father of United States Marine Corps Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover.
My daughter-in-law, Sergeant Nicole Leanne G., was killed in the Afghanistan exit at Ab.
And quick ADHD comment, can't help but notice there's a big discrepancy in terms of the people doing social media for Trump versus Kamala Harris. It's been more and more reports that Kamala Harris, they're paying influencers tens of thousands of dollars, and yet people will do it for free for Trump. I think it's saying something.
Gate.
Our kids were murdered because of your administration.
You were not at Dover for the dignified transfer, and no time have you reached out to me to offer your condolences, to offer thank you for Kareem's sacrifice and service.
You have 13 families who have been waiting over 3 years to so much as get a phone call, to so much as hear our kids' names said aloud.
You failed for 3 years and 8 months to acknowledge our kids.
Where were you and Joe Biden on August 26, 2024? Nowhere near Arlington Cemetery. You couldn't be bothered to be with us or even say our kids' names, just as you had done for the last 3 years.
Vice President Harris, I ask you, why won't you return a call and explain to us how you call my daughter-in-law's death a success? President Trump has called. President Trump shows up. But President Trump takes the time to hear our loved ones' stories.
We invited him to be there.
These are the only memories we get to make with our son, and it is you who is playing politics and trying to detract from our memories made that day.
President Trump has been there for us. He's been a rock for us. He showed compassion for us, and he showed he truly cares for the families that truly do know what the ultimate sacrifice really is.
really good music. And the end ends with a little text that says, Trump Vance, Make America Great Again, 2024. Very, I was going to say, very, obviously very emotional in terms of campaign. And you could just tell it's authentic. These families are, can't imagine how irate they are with the whole situation. But yeah, I think it's a very compelling political ad. It's got just reloading the screen, got another million views. Got 6.2 million views and 72,000 likes. Now, one of the top comments coming from Sassafras84 says, quote, this fight for America. It says, at this point, you're either with Trump or against America, getting 515 likes. Based Electrician says, quote, Kamala Harris facilitated a literal invasion at our southern border in an attempt to stay in power. No one should be surprised that in an attempt to gain votes, she would also spite the family members of the soldiers who lost their lives due to her failed choices. I'm quoting 61 likes. Though, I would also add, I mean, there's also Biden in that situation as well. And I don't know if his kind of dark humor just is bizarre that Biden was very proud of the fact that he says he got us out of Afghanistan, which, yeah, in the worst most possible way, literally American servicemen dying and billions of armaments left behind for the enemies. Billions of dollars of small arms and vehicles. Yeah. Probably the worst withdrawal because of war in U.S. history, I would think. DC Drano says, quote, what's truly heartbreaking is the fact that these families sent their loved ones to serve in the military under President Trump, but then the Biden Obama regime stole the 2020 election and sent these brave American heroes to be killed. That's why we should support Trump. They know he's a hero. Getting 1.7 thousand likes. AKA says, quote, who else can't wait to vote for President Trump? Getting 531 likes. Colin Rugg says, quote, the biggest F-ups in the Harris campaign. 1, picking Tim Walz as VP. 2, attacking Trump for accepting invitation from Gold Star families. Getting 1,000 likes, and good point. And yeah, in Biden's defense, though, he was very busy. He was at the beach, apparently. Which, I mean, he spent, there's some people saying he spent like 500 days at the beach or whatever. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. He goes there a lot. Yeah, granted, in terms of the government spending money, at least he's not wasting too much, I suppose. It's only a security detail. That's not the most expensive way he could use his time, but still. That's a disproportionate amount of time at the beach, just hanging out. Now, I do have a contrarian statement. You have somebody named Human. Although, he does have a hippie, what is it, the peace sign in his profile. He does the Ukrainian flag and the blue wave. And interestingly enough, he does have the United States flag in his profile name. And his name is, profile name is Human, hashtag for humanity unity, or for human unity. Though, he says he's human. That's just what a computer would say. Can't help but think maybe he's AI, perhaps. Now, he says, quote, you can deceive a few, but not the major. You are the only president in history to insult Gold Star family, calling our fallen heroes losers. That's why, or that's your bone spur excuses. You even labeled POWs like John McCain losers. This issue isn't whether Trump was invited to Arlington National Cemetery. It's about his campaign, blatant exploitation of the sacred site. And he has like 5 paragraphs. Though he did get 180 likes and 1,274 views. Here. Going to the comments, I wonder if he got ratioed. UConn Think says, hey human, please invite me to rob a bank in your community. I heard crimes are legal if you're invited. Okay, 1 like. Crime Equals Time says, it's hard to explain the normal morals and ethics to Trump, who is more complex, only points to the direction that benefit Trump himself, and all else just a defection of his mind. Getting 6 likes, interestingly enough. Diane says like, or she says like, and I guess she did get a like. Alright. So actually a lot of people supporting him. There. Someone did a caricature of Trump standing at a gravesite. 9 likes. Going back to the main comment section. You have American Papa Bear says, quote, I have great love and admiration for vets and Gold Star families. If that is you, I want to follow you. Getting 69 likes. Going down. Sassafras84 says, we stand with the Gold Star families. It's a picture of Trump saying fight when after his assassination attempt. Got 243 likes. Arthur Eagleman says, quote, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris got these brave men and women killed. The worst day in the administration. That's worse than the Harris campaign basically attacking the families of the fallen. Getting 543 likes. Here. Arthur Eagleman says, quote, I will always stand with Gold Star families. He says, never forget the 13 brave men and women who gave it all. That was Darren Hoover, Johnny Rosario. Again, I'm not, I read their names. I'm not trying to butcher them if I do accidentally with their pronunciations. But again, it's Darren Hoover, Johnny Rosario Pacharo, Nicole Gee, Hunter Lopez, Dagan Page, Humberto Sanchez, David Espianzo, Jared Schmitz, Ryan McCollum, Dylan Merkel, Kareem Nikau, Maxon Soviak, Ryan Kunze, and there's the rest of the text, so you never forget 8/26/2021. Got 734, so I get 735 likes. Planet of Memes did come with a meme this time. It's like America First versus America Last, and it's the little cartoon caricature of a kid walking, and you have a path split into two separate, the fork in the road, and you have America Last, it's Kamala and Tim, and on the right it says America First, it's Trump and Vance. And that got 186 likes. Let's see. One Bad Dude says, I voted for compassion. I vote for Donald Trump. Okay, 152 likes. Chuck Costello says, never forget. Went out a couple of right before our eyes. Gets 165 likes. There's a picture of this, all of the servicemen. Let's see here. Any kind. So I had an AI picture of Donald Trump riding a lion. It says, Make America Great Again, getting 289 likes. Let's see. Yeah, so far, no. So there's a couple contrarian statements, but overall, overwhelming support for Donald Trump in his post. Yeah, I think, and again, in terms of top maybe 5 or 10 policies or instances, I'll define this upcoming election. I do think the Afghanistan withdrawal, the botched withdrawal, is going to be a major component, especially for families of veterans and veterans alike. I think that's going to be one of the big. I think that will be one of the biggest issues when it comes to the 2024 election. But let me know in the comments. Do you think this won't influence a lot of voters, or do you think it'll be a major, like one of the top 5 topics? Let me know, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Toyota recalling the Sequoia Hybrid SUV. Unfortunately, as the giant, most nearly bulletproof brand has more and more recalls, though thankfully this one is not detrimental. The engine is not grenading itself. So, granted, I'm not sure if they say specifically it's safe to drive, but it could be worse. It's not the drivetrain. It's not the heart of the vehicle. So there's a silver lining to the situation. Now, this comes to us thanks to Kinsey Crowley, who's a writer at USA Today, in which he says, quote, Toyota recalls 43,000 Sequoia hybrids for risk of a towing hitch covers. See, they got good old pop-ups, which, again, I can't think of a bigger waste of money in terms of the effective rates of pop-ups, but I partially digress. Where's the picture? Terrible USA Today. They have a picture of the iconic Sequoia. A little disappointment. Ironically, they have a picture of BMW, because it's another article they're writing about. But in that case, I'll kill the picture-in-picture, so you have more pixels on the screen to look at my beautiful suit. I'm jesting, of course. But in all reality, they say, quote, Toyota has issued a recall for vehicles because of a risk of a tow hitch cover detaching. They say the Toyota Motor entering and manufacturing recalled 2023 and 2024 Sequoia hybrid vehicles that have a tow hitch cover on the rear bumper, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. It's always funny because it's in government speak, because it's the administration, because they really spell it out. And it's almost a joke, so I'll have to go ahead and read it. They say, quote, the tow hitch cover may come loose from the bumper and detach from the vehicle. It therefore may become a road hazard and increase the risk of a crash, which, yes, vehicles literally falling apart and maybe hitting other vehicles, striking other vehicles, I can certainly see that it would actually, perhaps cause a crash. And they say, quote, this is one of many recent recalls from Toyota. They say, quote, in order to see if your specific vehicle is being issued by this recalled, they can say, quote, owners can check USDA's recall database and they search for your specific VIN number, which, or you can just call Toyota. And granted, these days, it used to be back in my day, you have to be charged per text or per minute of phone call. You have to salvage and scrounge those together. But nowadays, got pretty much unlimited talk and text these days. But if you want to call Toyota to check your specific VIN, the recall reference is 24T as in topping, B as in boy, 10. And then there's 2 recall numbers. So again, the first one is 24T as in topping, B as in, let's say BMW, and 10. Then is 24T as in topping, A as in ammo, and that's 24TA10. Now, or you can call Toyota if you want to actually, hear some nice old music perhaps. Although, really, they should actually, instead of having that, it should be like exhaust notes of their performance vehicles. I'm sure it's not, but if you want to call Toyota, you can reach out to them at 1-800-331-4331. Again, That's Toyota customer service at 1-800-331-4331. And if you're not a gearhead, or if you don't have a lot of experience, checking your car VIN, just go up to the windshield, take your smartphone, get a picture of that, and then you can, read off that number of the cover inside your home. And they say, of course, quote, dealers will replace the tow hitch cover and modify the rear bumper free of charge. Granted, that's pretty much every recall, since again, it's never going to cost a consumer or anything, but again, it's not good news because it's going to cost the dealer. The dealerships are always paid for recalls. That's what the manufacturer pays them for. It's called, warranty work. The reason most mechanics hate warranty work is because the rate at which they are paid is significantly less than the standard work that they do on a vehicle when they're upselling a customer on a standard service, or they're fixing something that's out of warranty. So it's very much discounted. So the dealerships aren't too happy about this. The customers are irate because, again, they bought a Toyota. They're supposed to be bulletproof, or darn near bulletproof in terms of reliability. And depending on how long this type of fix takes to your vehicle, you might be in the dealer waiting for maybe an hour with, let's be honest, usually rudimentary subpar coffee. At least usually it's free, but you're waiting around waiting for the vehicle. If it takes longer than that, maybe you have to worry about getting inside a stranger's car using something like Uber or Lyft or hitchhiking. Or maybe you get lucky and they have a loaner for you. Either way, it's very inconvenient for the end user. It doesn't leave a good experience in their mind of what Toyota stands for, which, again, they need to work extra hard at that these days because they've had more and more warranty issues and recall issues. I gotta say, Toyota having yet another recall that affects the perception of your brand, and granted, it's not a drivetrain issue, so silver lining, but still, gotta say that recall Toyota is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I'd really appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.